So we are waiting for one more member. We understand that Carrie will be here shortly, and then we will have quorum. We need 4. So Dave, are you on a time schedule? I can't hear you. You're muted.
It would help if I unmuted. Sorry. No, I'm not on a time schedule today.
Okay. Also, the courts are closed today, so I know that Stacy will not be here and Harper will not be here. So, and I did. There was a request to have Attorney Wendell. A couple of topics here, so we'll see what happens. So we're going to just wait for Carrie to show up, and then we can get going.
Well, we're still kind of off the record.
Sure.
So at the end, if you notice in the last minutes, the judge had mentioned possibly having her own budget. And I know I'm kind of behind on this because it's a new pursuit. So
Sure.
she mentioned it again. So would that have to go through this committee and then finance and personnel and then the county board, like normal? Or, and I did ask this question to Candace in an email on Wednesday, but I think she's out maybe today too. But do you happen to know by chance?
So it'd be nice if it came to this committee. It's been brought up to this committee. I think from there, we just take it to finance because it's going to be part of the budget process.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the recommendation coming from here is that we meet again on Monday next week.
So does it need to be posted as an agenda item though?
Oh, she just had it as a report last time, didn't she?
Yeah. There was, I mean, I didn't know if we would. Is Candace on?
If you wouldn't, it'd be only available by phone calls, what her email
Okay.
said.
Okay.
I would like to see that. Yeah, if you could do that, and then we can still bring it up. That way, at least that next committee knows what our hope was, what our plan was.
Okay. And it can be, you know, I mean, she said again, it can be a modest budget.
Sure.
It's just something, so that way it's set aside for,
She can.
yeah, replacements, you know, equipment, things, office supplies. Yeah, you know, just kind of the basics. And then things that need replacing.
Right.
All right. So we
Go
have,
from there once it's separate.
Right.
I have 8:34, and we're gonna get started then. We ran a little late, but up here to get going now. So roll call, please. Do a roll call. Eric.
I'm here. I'm sorry, I didn't hear anything.
Cosgrove. Frank.
Yes.
Here.
All right, thank you. So we have a quorum. Moving on to item number 3, verification of open meeting law compliance. Thank you. Item number 4, approval of agenda. We have a 15-point agenda. Looking for a motion to approve this such agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Fleming, second. Carrie, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, all is approved. Moving forward, approval of the minutes of June 7th, 2024 meeting. A motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Julie. Looking for a second. Carrie, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion is carried to approve the minutes. Item number 6, public comment. Anybody from the public want to make a comment at this point? They're online or in the room. Item number 6, public comment. Last chance for public comment at this point. Hearing none, moving on to item number 7, reports. Sheriff Department activities and
So monthly report, we had 59 jail bookings for the month. And I'll lead that into this is that our population has been high, very high lately, and it doesn't seem to be going away. So we have been reaching out to our area sheriffs and asking if we have room in other jails We have not shipped anybody out as of yet, but we have been, especially sometimes leading into the weekends, trying to be prepared for not being able to house all of our inmates. Also, part of our issue has been we have a higher female population than normal, much higher than normal. So that's causing us issues with meeting classification. So we have to try and separate everybody out based on classification. And so that increased female population has really hurt our ability to do that. We already struggle with it just on the basic layout of our jail. So when you throw those extra population dynamics into it, we really struggle. So like I said, we haven't shipped anybody out yet, but that's been a real possibility lately. So average number of inmates housed is 40.25. That is including electronic monitoring. So if you subtract that, where average is 34. 410 for monthly complaints, 33 for traffic citations, 4 warnings, 10 civil process papers served, and 13 transports. And actually, I do want to go back and touch on the population once more. The state says we're at capacity at 32. So our population has been 30, or our average population is 34. So we're a 42-bed facility, but the state says we're at capacity at 32.
Staffing levels too.
Staffing wise too, when we get up to at that point, then we have to meet a minimum staffing requirement. So sometimes that adds additional overtime and stuff like that. And or if we can't fill it with a part-time person, it adds to overtime.
So is there budget money for shipping inmates out? Has that been calculated in the last budget?
I don't believe we have a budget line for that.
Okay.
We haven't had to do that in so long.
Been a long time.
Yeah, so I'll double check that, but I don't believe there's a budget line for that.
Okay. I'm almost thinking that budget wise, that's something that should be identified on a regular basis, because this is stuff.
Yeah, and like I said, it only seems to be, I guess lately it seems to be hovering around that, but you know, we run into the weekends and we've been coming out of the weekends at 38. And so, yeah. Calls for service, we had 690 calls for service in the dispatch, 86 calls for EMS, and 154 calls for the police department.
Okay.
That's pretty well headed. We do have, this might have its own line for squads. We do have the mileage chart up though. So yeah, the mileage chart is up. I don't think it had, the one I saw didn't have, oh, yeah, if you scroll down a little bit. Sorry, got June and July in there. We do have an appointment to get our first squad outfitted. There was an issue with equipment not being in for them, so we got delayed on that. But first one should be in a couple weeks for outfitting, and the second one shortly thereafter.
So squad mileage, we're still okay even with the 2 cars that aren't going to be bought?
Yeah.
Or was it 1 or 2?
So we're buying. Oh, you're talking about for this year?
Right, because we moved, that money got moved.
Yeah, no, we'll still be okay. We're buying the 2 again next year. I think we're tracking pretty well. I think we're probably gonna have to go to 3, 4, 26. But we're tracking pretty well right now.
Okay.
Donor squads, we have had a couple recent accidents as far as the deer. Had a situation with the city squad and hit one of our cars. And we have 3, I think, that are out right now with damage, well, not out, but needing to get repairs. I know Weiners is getting supposed to finish up one pier, so it's drivable as they wait for the other panel.
That one is back in service.
Yeah, it's back in service, just waiting for the panel to fix the rest of the damage.
Okay.
And, I think the truck was supposed to go in to next week to get repaired. So they should be getting repaired quickly, but, we had several with damages. And one the Dodge had another heating issue. And, one of the squad cars has the same issue that we had on one of our other Dodge Durangos 2 years ago. But it sounds like that should be able to get repaired pretty quickly too. It's a common thing apparently with these.
Known item.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope, I think that's it.
All right. All right, so under 7A then, nothing else from the sheriff, anything from the coroner? I haven't seen any emails. Did you get anything?
I didn't see, let me double check.
Okay.
Because I haven't looked since Wednesday, but. No, I don't have anything.
Okay, nothing from the coroner. Circuit Court judge?
So Judge McDougall's not with us today. She's off today, but I just wanted to formally continue on from our minutes at the last meeting. The judge will be pursuing and talking with Candace and this committee about eventually getting a budget of her own for the circuit courts for both office equipment and things that need replacing within the courtrooms and things. So just hope to have that be we'll probably request that be an agenda item next month.
Yes. Okay.
And,
I will talk with Candace about that separately prior to that.
okay,
There was a security meeting update, courthouse security meeting?
so we did have a security meeting and, the overall feeling is that we are making progress, both in the courtroom with the court security. Devin has been great implementing that. Clay can add to it, but, I think we're making progress on court security in the courtroom and outside. They're implementing a lot of, just small changes. And then Randy Nelson in maintenance has added some things to the judge's chambers. He added a people so she could kind of look to see who's out in the lobby between the courtrooms before she goes out. And just made some changes with chairs and things small changes, but just to make things safer. And just keeping everything very front of mind with security. So we'll be continuing to implement changes and likely make requests.
Were some of those changes, the recommendation of the Capitol Police?
So we finally did get that report. It was a lengthy report. And so the judge is going to kind of try and condense that and make some highlights and then come back to this committee next month because it is very thorough. So that was one of her to-do lists, was to try and kind of break it down to what our highlights and focus should be coming out of that lengthy report so that we can kind of create what's our priorities going forward, regardless of whether we stay in this building or, what our short-term goals are for this year and the next 3 years.
Okay. I've got a note here to add that onto the agenda.
And then kind of piggybacking on that, we also met with the space needs vendor in the courtroom to kind of address all of the space needs, but also the layout within the courtroom. So all of that is kind of working together at what would be the best solution, keeping in mind, some of the things that are the way they are due to, we're restricted a little bit on some of our access to electricity and technology. And then some of that was just built, not really keeping security as much as mind. But as things have changed, we need to make those changes. So it might mean some remodeling or moving things around if we're going to be here for any length of time.
All right, good to know. Anything else on the circuit court side?
I think just, again, on making the progress, we're still between Devin and Candace and everyone working together, we're still looking at pursuing getting kiosks too. at some point in time for the court security.
Oh, okay, right.
Where they can see, like, once the cameras are installed from the radio tower project, then maybe they could see, like, while they're in the courtroom, what's going on by camera in the small courtroom or in the lobby area in between. Right now, we don't have that ability.
Is it in the project plan?
Yep.
Okay.
So, I feel like there's a lot of things in the works.
Yes, it sounds like there's a lot of, yeah. All right. Well, you want to go right to register and probate then? Yeah.
Sure. So as far as, just real quick on the budget, still looking good on track right now. Through the end of June through June 30th, my budget's at 41%. Sometimes, you know, again, that catches up at the end of the year. The daily caseload for both the judge in Richland County and going out of county seems very busy. But we're making, you know, getting a lot of work done. It just, with all the meetings and all the projects and then the regular daily work, it feels like there's a lot going on. And then in addition to what I already mentioned, you know, we're in the midst of working on our budget right now, and we just finished kind of the first step of the wage study. So just that, you know, all of those things take some time and hours, and so, yeah, but overall, other than feeling like we got a lot going on, things are going good.
Okay, well, we like to hear that. We also want to make sure that, that's the direction we're going. So,
Yeah.
all right, excellent. Anything else on that?
I think so, unless anybody has any questions.
Questions either for item C or item E, circuit court judge or register and probate? Hearing none, clerk of court did get an email from Stacy saying that they were out of town. So we'll on past that. F, district attorney is not here, court is closed. Any messages from her, from anybody? Hearing none, moving on. Emergency management. John.
Nothing very much to report there, other than there's obviously a lot of flooding going on. We anticipated a few months ago. So we're addressing that, and we're trying to rearrange assets in the county in such a way that it's more of a collaborative effort than a siloed effort, which kind of has been in the past. So I think what we're going to try to do moving forward is collaborate with different departments that would have to do with responding to either flooding or wind damage or highway issues and or damage, or other individual assistance items such as farms being impacted, small businesses being impacted, just people in general being affected by storms or other problems. So I think there's going to be a few meetings here coming up where we're going to try to discuss with some of the stakeholders how they would want to participate in a collaborative effort to provide resources to people impacted by the sensors. So that's an ongoing effort. And it's also kind of consistent with the IPP that we've got written right here to bring in as much information from the people who would be impacted by things, or people who are stakeholders in the community, what their ideas are for things that we need to do, either train or exercise or educate the public on what to do in an emergency situation. So that's kind of the focus right at the moment.
Okay. So with all the rain and with all the flooding, thankfully haven't seen some of the disasters we have in the past. We had people evacuated from their homes? How would things?
Yeah, and how would things go with that? There's WEM guidance for that. There's FEMA guidance for that. I think there's precedent that we set from 2007 forward in the county for that I would unearth out of our vault and make sure that any lessons learned we would apply to any upcoming.
Have we had any of that yet this year?
Well, we had some evacuations in the city.
Okay.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Real Street.
Yeah, there were some evacuations in the city. One of the apartments.
Woodman Mill Apartments.
What was that?
that Woodmanville Apartments there by Schmidt.
Yeah,
Oh, that one. Oh.
Yeah, that has flash flooding arise and they, police officer called the fire department, on them to help evacuate it up.
Okay.
They didn't actually evacuate by the time they got there, the
Yeah.
water was receding.
okay,
So there was no actual evacuations.
okay.
Good.
Damage assessments, our emergency government out assessing damages from townships and other villages and maybe people calling into like 211 or something to report damage in case, maybe there is some money available. Are we getting those assessments down so we're ready and prepared?
Yeah, I think the meeting I had last night at the EOC kind of moved things in that direction. I had another conversation with Darren a few nights ago about what assistance is available and what isn't. And the news on that front is that there is precious little assistance being given by the state or the federal government for situations like this. But that's been the case for 30, 40 years. So we're now moving the needle on monies coming back to the county from external partners, federal or state.
I just want to make sure that we're
However-
documenting the damages in case there in
Right.
the event that the governor does declare.
Exactly. So
Good stuff that, hey, we got our ducks in a row, we're
Right.
not missing out on.
to address your point, yes, we are collecting that data. Sam Liebel of WIM and I and Dan Gannon are pulling together a procedure for Richland County that we can use to collect data from each of the townships, which is not an easy task. But we're trying to figure out where in each kind of event, straight line event would be certain townships, flooding event would be certain townships. And it's going to be fairly consistent. Which 7 or 8 townships are going to be most impacted by an event. And we're just automatically going to call those townships until we get an answer from them, which can take days. But they just don't answer phone calls. So we will make our best effort to extract the information from the townships that they're willing to make available to us. They will go into a spreadsheet. And Wem and I are going to collaborate on the size of those numbers. And if they're big enough, then WEM will start building those numbers into a declaration database so that if a presidential declaration or even a state declaration is made and there's a threshold for all the counties in the state of Wisconsin that has to be met and our numbers help meet that, then it's a win for everybody. So we're going to be doing that for sure. Now, this last set of events, we had like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. For a couple of the townships that we called. We have to have $81,000 in damages countywide to meet any kind of a threshold for any kind of assistance, and that's public assistance. Individual assistance is just non-existent. That's another problem. But we're working on that as well because states like Ohio and I think Pennsylvania do have individual assistance at the state level. And if Wisconsin can kind of get on board with doing something similar to that, with some kind of economic model, I'm not sure exactly how they collect the money for that, but there's property taxes that they have a portion that goes into a disaster fund. If Wisconsin does that same thing, and homeowner on AA has a furnace that goes underwater, at least we can provide some support and assistance to individuals like that who get it. So it's not going to be a lot, but it'd be enough to offset the cost.
Yeah, just a thought too, and I'm sure you've been in discussions with Josh, but I would have driven 80 and a few other roads, and there's a lot of state and county highway roads that need shoulders redone.
Yes, he's very much aware of that as of
Yeah.
last night.
So I just figured that would probably help add to the cost.
Yep. Yeah, so he'll be taking all of that into account and then separately tallying up for each one of those project areas what the cost and time and materials was. And then I'm going to put that spreadsheet and send it to WEM. You know, and they can decide, well, is this good information or not? And what we need to figure out is how much money do you want to spend to get money? Because it's not free to go out and collect all this data. You're going to spend a lot of time and effort and possibly even driving around. So gasoline and mileage and all this sort of thing. So you're going to spend money to collect it.
Seems like we're putting a lot of miles on the vehicles already.
Yeah, well,
More than what they've
Yeah,
ever
he-
had in their entire life.
thinking so. Green Truck has been out a lot, so, Mike has been doing a lot of damage assessments, so that for himself, he can build kind of a baseline of what things look like in the county when such and such an event occurs. So he can intuitively understand if this happens, that's probably gonna be the damage, and then we can focus on getting the right information from that. But, yeah, we need more data, but acquiring data is not free. So if the state's coming back and saying, you've got to have $81,000 worth of damage for us to even move on anything in your county, okay, so let's find out what $81,000 looks like in a flood. Because it's $460 per capita, that's what the number is. So if you don't have that amount of damage, then you're not going to get anything. Nice statistics for your own database, but other than that, it doesn't do any good. So that's what we're going to get our heads around.
If we're getting numbers from the highway department and everything else.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna have more expeditious collaborations with all the departments in the county, and we might be able to collect some data that way. If you guys are all driving around, you already know on Highway 80. So if you send me that information and you throw a number at it and say, yeah, that looks like $500 worth of damage. Yeah, we'll collect that and keep it, because you're already spending the money to find that information. So if you report it to us, we archive it, then that'll help us later to determine where to put and focus our efforts on damage assessment and damage recovery. Does that make sense?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
That's kind of where we're.
Just at this point, I'm very thankful we have not had the catastrophic incidents that we've had over the last 25 years.
Yeah, let's hope the rest of the summer maintains that.
Yes.
The model's looking like it will.
No, the models are not very
So
favorable.
So would we be kind of prepared to provide resources that will say to like Viola, like we got enough sandbags
Yep.
and we could have
Yeah, okay.
contact to get those portable pumps and
Yes.
rescue boats if needed. And
Yeah, I think the TNRs, they have airboats available, whether or not those MOUs are still in force. I don't know.
We have a boat, the last I knew at the fairgrounds, that's available to the sheriff's office or.
Flat
It's a
bottom?
DNR boat, yeah, it's flat bottom.
All right. So, yeah, the airboat would normally be.
Yeah.
Because it's more frequently the rescues that are needed. I think that's pretty much it with what's going on right now. We're just overwhelmed, obviously, with response.
Sure. Okay. All right. Anything for emergency management? Anything else? Under item G? All right, thank you. Moving on then to PSAP and GIS grants. I did see the email you guys put out. Final notice, get your data in. How's it looking?
We'll be meeting, I believe it is Wednesday. And then after I have all that data together, I will be writing those grants, sending them out for everybody to review. Make sure all my ducks are in a row, and we'll submit. So.
Deadline on that is
August 1st or 15th, I have to.
yeah.
But-
Mid-August.
It'll be done very soon after Wednesday. And I am actually finishing out my 23 stuff right now. All the money was spent. We have until August, but that might be worth it.
Yeah, it could be.
To get those invoices submitted, we did get the dispatch center switched over. I have a meeting with Gen Com on Tuesday to go over a punch list of items, which I'll wanna touch base with Devin and you and make sure I have all of those, just to make sure all the cleanup items are done. But that grant was pretty much all spent on. I spoke to Grant about it not yesterday, Wednesday. And now we'll start to spend down on the 24 grants, which we don't have a PSAP, but we have GIS.
And just as a recap, that's an $18 million state grant, and it's really, really encouraging whatever you can put in for that.
Yep, they
Please
found
put in.
lots of cool stuff, found some more orthos that we're gonna do and lots of good stuff.
As long as it touches 911,
Yep.
let's get it put in, so, all right. Anything else in the PSAP JS grant? You said that was next week meeting on that, so.
That's about all I've got.
All right, that's it. Any questions on that project? All right, moving on from H to I, radio tower project. Ooh.
So this is actually moving nicely. We have our radio vendor, they are starting, Josh, the rain needs to just rain, go away so that Josh can focus on those roads. I know he is really trying, but it's a challenge with the weather and the road washouts and the requirements of the highway department there. Finish has been working on getting the Keysville's ready to go. We'll be ready to roll on Lone Rock. And then Viola the road and,
Got good news on the bird survey.
yes, that's,
So
Okay.
there's no
Yes.
no
No birds.
evidence of that bird in that location.
yep. And.
How was there, now there isn't?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
because
So we
there
had
was a
we had to
potential.
we had to actually survey to make sure there wasn't.
It was
Oh.
just potential that it.
Oh, it was a potential. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Based on habitat studies,
Yes,
so it could be there, you gotta prove it.
so that was done. Westport is just the road and then it's done. We got all of our ASR stuff back except for Yuba, if I'm not mistaken. And we expect that back this week. So then we'll be done with that's the FAA and everything will be done for all the sites. Finish is asking for that. I don't understand, and I need to go to zoning, because I did get, Finish submitted a huge check to zoning that accidentally came to my office because we didn't know what it was for. But how much of the zoning, I mean, it was over $10,000 that we had to pay for zoning permits for the towers. And that really, I'm a little confused on why we're billing ourselves.
That's
That's
just the nature of the county, man. I've been fighting that for years here, and it just,
And I mean, I'm not questioning the zoning department, but just the entire practicing, that when I saw the amount of the check being that large.
And I know there's fees for the addressing.
Yeah.
It's gotta be
That's
addressed.
$175, and I get that because we gotta pay for the metal sign.
Right,
That's
the record
cool.
of it.
This was over $10,000.
Just need a position.
Why? What was it?
I
What's
can't
his,
tell you.
I mean, there's gonna be building permits, but those aren't,
But would we have to pay the building permits to, there are towers,
Yeah,
how many sites is that are going for that bill?
5, I believe, we don't.
it's gonna affect my budget, blah, blah, blah.
Pay for your driveway permits.
That's what it's gonna come
Driveway
out.
permits, can you do some of that? I'm curious what that whole number, what's that?
Budget to another.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is. It was just, that was a little surprising to me. I'm not complaining about zoning at all. It's just one of the practices of the county.
I hear you.
Just curious why that cost is like that.
Areas, but the big-
Bringing that up for you.
Don't want to make saying Barb was dissing anybody. I'm not.
No. Those are excellent questions, and that's why we have these,
Yeah.
figure some of that stuff out.
I mean, does it cost money to transfer from one side of the ledger to the other? Is that an expensive process? Or is it,
Do you know anything about that, Miranda? I'm sorry to give you anything.
Not a budgeting person.
Okay.
So I will ask a question and we'll find some,
that's a good question.
That's a good
Costing the county to build itself like that, that's silly stuff.
right?
So I
But
don't
there may
know.
be other reasons that things have to be turned into the state,
Yeah,
or
right.
state records that have to be done. You know, there may be statutory
Especially
things.
with the grant.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, in that
But this
case-
isn't a grant. This is borrowed money. This is not grant.
Still,
So-
even with borrowed money, you might want a paper trail.
right, and that might be a state, I'll have to see. I'll ask a
So
question.
that was one of the things, but I know that the zoning permits are done now.
Okay.
I can testify to that.
Good.
So we are absolutely, the meeting on Wednesday, the question was asked, are we gonna make it in time? And Mike still says, it's tough, but yep, we're gonna get there.
Okay,
Actually,
so-
it might have not have been Wednesday, that might have been the Monday. Larry.
Because we have to be functional December,
We have had the money spent.
spent.
December 15th, is their Derek's told me December 1st, and I begged him till the 15th. But we are absolutely great. That the work that they're doing.
FCC guidelines.
We're s-
No,
It's the grant.
it's just that borrowed.
Borrowed money.
Borrowed that.
Borrowed money.
We got 3 years to spend that. Yeah.
So it's a financial agreement.
It's about interest rates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
And
Where they were and where they are.
we're still working on BOAS.
Yeah, yep, we had, we looked away from the US Cellular tower to another tower in the area, and we're trying to finalize some of these numbers with,
You got a property for that?
was it?
Is there a property for that or is it?
It's an existing tower,
It's
yeah,
existing.
up
Yeah.
on Shannon's Way,
Okay,
so,
And that looked like it was making progress. too,
Yeah.
so.
it's high enough broadcast.
yeah, it really didn't change the maps much at all.
So,
Okay. I was even surprised about that, but yeah, the modeling looked good, so.
yeah, that's good news.
Yep.
10,000, no, 18,000 a year for that?
Yeah, that was US Cellular, so we're not doing that.
All right, any questions on the radio tower project? So that's coming to finance and executive. I saw that on that agenda. Reference to bird question.
There is, can't remember what's on there. Yeah, there is something that's coming there. Can't remember what it is.
It was referenced to the bird survey or something changed based on that.
Yeah, because we had Edge do it, and that was not their original contract.
Oh.
It was an addition.
Okay, all right. Sounds good.
Thank you for remembering what it was, because I was gonna have to go back and look.
Yeah, I just was trying to catch up on some of it. All right, anything else on the radio tower project? Nothing. Moving on. Item J is the mapping radio system and SWAT updates. I think we've pretty much gone through all those items at this
Yeah,
point.
we are struggling, we had a really great meeting with, Zach.
Yeah, that's great.
TMA, absolutely fantastic resource. And he helped us to understand more of the mapping requirements for the 911. And he also reviewed our contract with Crossroads and verified that what work they should be completing. He's gonna assist us in making sure they're fulfilling their contract, those 5 requirements.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, Zach's huge resource. All right, anything else on mapping or questions on mapping radio systems, SWAT updates? Need to rename that because beat ourselves, but. All right, item number 8, approval of the monthly invoices for the sheriff's department. Got a list in them on your folder.
Questions about the bills?
One I had, was way at the bottom, for the rating. So it didn't make any sense. Then I got looking at finances thing and they talked about it in there. I seen a paper that it was for an air conditioner for the radio system or something. So that answered my question. I just
Was that for the server room farm or
Yeah.
was that?
Yep, that's what it was.
Yeah, gotta keep that server room.
Gosh.
Yeah,
I just didn't make sense where it's plumbing and then whatever, but it was for radio. I understand now after reading that. Finding it.
Any other questions on the bills? Invoices? Looking for a motion to approve the monthly invoices.
I'll make a motion to approve the monthly bills.
Thank you, Julie.
Second.
Second.
Carrie, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. All right, item number 9, discussion of the possible action, mental health contract, jail mental health contract.
So, we currently contract with Health and Human Services for our mental health services for our inmates.
Yes.
Those are services that are required under DOC 350. It's been quite some time now, but they have not been able to provide those services for us. The hope is they will be sometime soon, but we just don't know. It's a staffing thing for them, and And so we reached out to Pine Counseling, who, when we originally tried to get bids for this, they had submitted a bid. And so this isn't so much as like, we're not contracting a certain amount of hours, this is an as-needed agreement. But that is what she provided with what her billing rate would be. And, you know, that in the event that Health and Human Services can provide the service again, we would not be using her. But as staffing goes, you know, people come and go, and that way we would kind of have a backup plan. Because like I said, this is a required service under DOC 350. So option A is always going to be Health and Human Services, but this gives us a plan.
So how would these people come in? What services are they offering? Is this,
Counseling services, mental health counseling services, Health and Human Services still has been doing emergency, where if we have an inmate on suicide watch, they're still doing that stuff for us. They're coming in and clearing people from watches and stuff like that. They're still doing that, but they're not coming in on a weekly basis and meeting with inmates that are in need of mental health services. We certainly have them, and I just say it's a segment of our inmate population.
how do you identify who needs it to know what we're gonna pay for? Someone who wants to talk
Yeah,
versus someone who needs.
and that's a I don't want to say that. That's a tricky thing to decide, is who just wants somebody to vent to and truly needs the help. We try to filter that as best we can. But there's not a set process for that yet.
Do the inmates have access to 911? So they could call and get that service?
So,
811.
no, well, I suppose they probably.
I'm sorry.
do their-
Thank you.
Yeah.
One number off.
Probably would.
No. Yeah, so it's, what's the mental health one? It's 811. No, 511's information.
811.
What's the mental health one?
Nobody else. 211.
Hold on.
Clay, do you know if any of those are drug?
I mean, I think drugs tie back into a lot of it,
Oh, okay.
but,
Is that, part of that separate or not?
well, so they're not.
988. Wow.
No, I mean, I think everything kind of has a tie back to drug abuse, right?
Oh,
A lot, I shouldn't say everything, a lot of what we see ties back to substance abuse problem. But, we still have to provide these mental health
Right.
services, so. And honestly,
crisis.
well, the crisis situation, they're still handling crisis for us. Yep. Brandy is still coming over and doing crisis stuff for us. But, it's the general that, it seems like a weird way to say it, but that general maintenance mental health stuff, right? And honestly, it does make a difference for the rest of the population and our staff when they are receiving these services. So, and when they're not,
Yeah.
it's noticed. So,
I guess with the 988 system, I would encourage that as an option to use,
yeah,
because that is now a national base, and we have a center in Wisconsin that just handles those calls for Wisconsin. And those are not critical calls. It does not mean that you're in a suicide situation or in a critical situation. It's for much anything mental health. Sometimes they can offer resources, and sometimes they just talk through things. So I don't know how that would work on the inmate phones, though, if they get charged for that, or that's,
I would imagine they do get charged for that. I'll have to look into that.
see if it, I would encourage you to look into that and see
Do you
if that
have
would.
like Wi-Fi phone in the jail still? I can't remember. I'm not sure.
We do, but I don't think we generally don't try and
That's our number.
give that to people.
I know.
Yeah.
Could you limit one of the IP phones, could you limit that to calling just 988?
That we could have, like we do over at HHS, so when you pick it up, it automatically dials 988. You don't get anything. You pick it up, that's all it does.
Okay.
So we could do that.
Is 988?
It has come a long way in the last couple of years.
relatives.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, so we're really, the 90-day process right now, we're trying to meld into 911. So 988, if it is a crisis, it transfer it to 911, or if it's a 911 call that isn't a crisis, we can meld it into 988. So we're trying to build those network communications right now between the two. So,
Just a quick comment on that, since working with crises. So a lot of those, or maybe not a lot, but some of those inmates have mental health needs that require medication. And they become, sometimes they have criminal cases when they go off their medication. And so in that assessment, or is there any nurse or anyone that asks them about, are you taking your medication? Are you on medication? Should you be receiving that? Because it seems like, I mean, just from working on both sides, the ME cases and the criminal cases, sometimes they go hand in hand when they're not taking their medication.
Yeah, so I generally, like, so we have our jail nurse and our medical contract. We generally don't try and take people off of their, like, if they're on medication for mental health, it's not normal practice for us to mess with that. So, but also unless we have a court order to do so,
They're not gonna take it.
we can't make them take it, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you need to, if they have been on medication though, and you need a court order to make them take it, but they can say, hey, I'm taking it, I've been taking this and I need access.
Well, we would know whether or not they're taking it.
Okay,
It's just that if they refuse to take it,
then you need a court order.
yeah, because we dispense all the medication, so we know if they're taking it or not.
Okay.
But yeah, if they're refusing it, we can't make them.
Unless there's a court order.
Yeah.
okay, so this then it's a mental health agreement, it's a contract, has to go through what channels?
So I talked with Michael about it, and he felt that I didn't get the impression that it needed to go any further than here. So, which seemed odd to me, but
Me too.
Well, is this coming out of your budget? You're
It's coming out
not
of my
asking
budget.
for anything, so if it's already
Pre-approved
pre-approved.
in the budget.
She's finding the money, I can see where she's really trying.
and I'm not contracting for a set amount of hours or a set dollar amount. It's an as needed. True. So
It's a floating budget.
So you would really be taking, since this wasn't in your initial budget, you're just finding some money somewhere to.
I mean, there's mental health, there's money for mental health services for inmates in my budget.
So
Yeah,
I
it's
would
just,
say you already have it.
I didn't budget for this hourly rate.
Sure, it might have been something else, but yeah, you
Yeah.
already got line item, money would cover this, yeah, I see why it could just stay here.
And you're paying out externally rather than.
And this isn't like a new business, but
Yeah, I'm not locking us into paying a service. It's just, I'm locking us into an hourly rate when we use her.
For a service that we had to provide.
Yeah.
So I guess at this point, I'd be looking for, first of all, motions, we can have some formal discussion.
A second.
30 seconds, thank you. Discussion. I think it's fine. I guess my concern is, I don't know, but I want to make sure we're hitting the right process if we have to go through the county board. So I guess if there's any,
Mike looked at this.
Mike has seen it. Mike was. Yep. Yep.
I guess I,
That was the question I asked him. Do I just sign it or do he recommended I bring it before you. So, just, I mean, at the very least, as a transparency thing, hey, this is what's going on. This is what we need. So,
and I guess I have no trouble with it, I guess pending, making sure that it's following all the other contract rules throughout the system that we have.
More than 5,000, I think, or something.
Yeah, we don't know what could this go over that?
I think, so what we did at HHS though is that we did brought that back.
So once it hit that mark.
Yeah, once they hit that mark or whatever it was, then they brought it to either increase that contract or to ratify it or.
get a resolution for it.
I guess I'd like to do that all at once and prevent all that if we could.
But we just,
You know, have it done with. I guess, okay, so I guess what I'd be looking at is, we have a motion, we have a second. Is, would there be interest in amending that to approve this pending getting all the Candace and making sure that we're going through the right sequences?
Could I make a recommendation?
Please, that's what we're here for.
We approve it. And start now, and I'll create a resolution, and we'll push a resolution forward to continue it.
Okay.
So we can start using the service, but we'll get a resolution, try to get a resolution together for this month. To approve it.
Anybody have any questions with that?
To continue it.
Dave, what's your thoughts?
That sounds okay to me. That's, yeah,
Um,
let's get it moving now because we have a need, and then get the formal approvals to continue it as we go into the next meeting, yeah.
All right, Gary's willing to, okay, so how do you want to amend it?
Play once.
So,
Place it.
so my understanding is that, we would approve this today, and Clay will then prepare a resolution for the county board to finalize it,
Continuing.
to continue it. Is that your amendment? We can get a second on that amendment.
I'll second.
Julie seconds that. All right, any other discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Did you catch up? Okay, just want to make sure. All right. Item number 10, discussion of possible.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Our vote there would have been to approve the amendment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
I was gonna say something. I didn't wanna-
No, I appreciate it. Okay, so we have approved the amendment. Now we vote on the action of the contract. Amended action, yes. So all in favor of approving the amended action, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? All right. Action is approved. Thank you for that correction. All right, anything else? Moving on then to item number 10, possible discussion and sale of sheriff's office surplus firearms.
So, this will be not the second year, I guess, I've been working on replacing our rifles. And I've got a number of them replaced. And the thought was that we could sell some of the surplus ones we have now to help fund further replacement.
Okay.
One of the, I guess, what I wanted to bring before you, what I was questioning is, I would like to be able to sell to staff. So, some agencies do that. Actually, a lot of agencies do that. There's an option for the deputies or officers to buy their weapon back from the department. So we're talking about the rifles, everybody, and I guess to go into it a little bit deeper, all the deputies supply their own handguns. We don't supply handguns, but we do supply rifles. There's a rifle with each squad car, a couple extra actually. So these they're over 20 years old now. Well over 20 now, and we're upgrading those. And so I guess that's kind of more my ask is, we can sell them at auction. That's an option, certainly. We could sell them back to staff. And that was kind of what my ask was.
How do you sell them at auction? Who's gonna do the auction? Is that Wisconsin Surplus? They don't do,
Wisconsin.
do they do firearms? I do.
Yeah, they do firearms.
Do gun broker or whatever.
Yeah, you can do Gun Broker. I've been watching our particular model on Gun Broker. They're going for 460 to 500. That was a little bit more than what I was thinking for them. Did look today, there's a couple of our model that are police trade-ins that are sitting around $300 right now on there. But they have a couple days of auction. But there's also some that are listed at $499 and have 2 days left and have 0 bids on them.
So how do we set a price if we're gonna sell them to individuals?
That's the question.
Pardon?
Is it broker option for getting?
Gun broker?
Yeah.
And that's what I've been looking at, is gun broker.
Already.
Yeah, yep, and so, anything that's been going over $500 that I've been seeing has like a really expensive optic on it. We're not selling, we're keeping our optics, we're not selling the optics, they're not all that old, and they have a lifetime replacement, so if they go bad, we get a free replacement. But
Does this fall under surplus items in the county that need to be offered to other agencies? Not that you would, I did that, but there is that.
Yep. You know, in theory, I guess it is. However, I think part of that, I'd have to go back and read my ordinance again. But I think part of it, they have to be able to use it.
Right, no, I get that. I just want to make sure that we are covering that because it just seems like one of those weird things that maybe we didn't properly
The
cover.
Parks Commission, or the Parks Board would want that.
I don't know, but I just
Yeah.
want to make sure we're covering our bases.
We got some qualifications.
I think it's fine. I think the county is the owner of those firearms, so they can set whatever price they want for it, because you go in any gun show per se, and people are setting their own prices for them.
Yeah.
So, but the only thing I would be concerned about is that, well,
And I don't
we
know.
better follow the law on transferring firearms from us to whatever, so there should be some paperwork with the FFL and
Which we could probably.
stuff like that, just
Probably
because-
arrange through one of our approved vendors.
Yeah,
Which might be a fee though, too.
Maybe.
I mean, when I buy stuff, I take it to the FFL and it's like $20,
Yeah.
so that ain't too bad.
And the other thought is too, I don't know how many people are going to be interested. So I thought that we would give that as an option first, and then ultimately we may just have to send some to auction. So
Like I said, those rifles are 20 years old and
some of them have.
they're not in the greatest condition. A lot of them are very rusted.
Yeah, they have a lot of surface rust on the barrel and.
There's an online auction thing on Purdue too, the guy sells, and like
Framers.
Wilkinson auction, I think he dabbles in a little firearm, so maybe they could, if we had to go that route, see if they would be able to throw our rifles in with somebody else's, thing to sell, because I don't have that big enough lot.
So committee, what are your wishes?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir?
whatever method we choose, I just want to have Corp Counsel check and make sure we're following all proper processes for it. Not only do we want to make sure it's done safely, but we also want to make sure we're not giving the appearance of any impropriety by giving preference to a county employee to purchase it. We don't do that with other property. And, while it's certainly understandable that, giving a deputy a chance to buy the firearm that we're no longer using makes some sense, I just want to make sure we're following a proper process to do that.
Agreed. So these don't have to be sold immediately.
Nope.
So I guess the questions on the table are, how would we set a price? One, two, does Corp Counsel have any concerns about this because it is a unique situation? I don't know if we do that with any other agency, let them buy their equipment back. I don't think I've done it at any other location. So I think we need to get those two questions answered. Like I said.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
and if there are other counties that do this, do they have a process that's outlined for how they do it? I mean, if there was a model we could look at.
Did you look into that? Okay. Good. All right. So the sheriff will look into those three items and we will call this a discussion with no action at this point and put that on the next agenda, please. The next one.
About because of these things.
I think when we're done with this, there's 8 or 9.
Oh, later.
Yeah.
There's 223s, right?
Yep.
No, 556.
Oh, they're 5.56. They're Bushmisters. Yeah. Pretty standard.
Once I train.
Yeah. I'm great. Yeah.
Okay. All right, anything else on item number 10, discussion and possible action of the sheriff's office surplus firearms sale.
I want to say it's a 556. You can also use a 223 with them, and that could be marketable for hunting rifles.
Yeah.
So.
All right, moving on, discussion and possible approval of amendments to the Richland County Sheriff's Department Ordinance 89.7 relating to Sheriff's Department staffing and hiring practices. I don't know if we've had any changes or motion on that or movement on that.
I don't know either.
So I guess at this point, I'd like to delay this and I will meet with Attorney Wendell. We were supposed to meet with him this last month and that didn't transpire. Any comments on that? All right, so we're going to set on hold for now and move on then to another topic, discussion and possible action, approval to deviate from the Sheriff's Ordinance 89.7 relating to department staffing and hiring.
Not sure how I feel about the wording of this, but it is what we're asking. So had 89.7 went forward the way we were asking and been approved, the hiring process changed in the sense that our final interview, instead of being with the full committee, would have been with the committee chair or his designee. So that's kind of more what we're looking at doing it. So we're gonna follow the process as it's outlined in the current 89.7, except we were thinking for the final interview, instead of having to try and get a quorum, that we just have the committee chair or designee. If we figured that would speed it up for us.
Yes.
That's the basis for it. It's not, we're not trying to do we're just trying to speed up the process and sometimes getting a quorum delays the process.
We made a quorum though. We did. 2 minutes late, but we made a quorum. So I guess my question is, when's the next time you need to have the interview process going?
We're doing, I think next week, Monday, we're doing our first round, and Devin was hoping to second final interview either late next week or early the following week.
Which would be the interview with the committee. All right. So I would say at this point, so I'm leery to deviate from that prior to any change going on without county board knowing about it. We do have a call in to Attorney Wendell. Both Derek has called him, waiting to talk to him about that. So I'm very leery to deviate from that. So what I would say at this point is, can we just set a meeting date now for that 2 weeks or whatever it is, a week from Monday or Friday? Let's pick a date that we can meet and we'll get that out early to the committee members.
Yeah, we could possibly do that.
Can we do that? And everybody, I'll look at your schedule quick. I understand this, your situation. I just don't want it, the county board is there and
Like saying that, and I didn't like the way it was worded, but it is what we were asking.
it is, I get it, yeah. Yeah.
Could have said suspend
Yeah, it's,
to
Well, and again,
I suspend Sheriff's Ordinance 89, whatever, for the hiring and staffing for one time for whatever.
all right.
So what's the date?
we're looking.
2 weeks.
We're gonna have Devin step up since she's been
Okay.
She's been
communication.
arranged. It's for a jail position, so.
For the female killer?
What are we at here? At the 5th today? So I'm really essentially good from the 10th all the way to the 18th.
Okay.
And essentially the 9th.
way
Do it during the morning.
Time to.
But the 11th though, just don't start at 7 AM to 8 AM. Start after like 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay.
We're just talking about the hiring for the final interview for the jail position. We're thinking third week of July, like 15th, 16th. That week.
Should you be ready by then?
One of them isn't interviewing until the 23rd,
Oh.
but I could probably figure that out. So I would rather get them done.
23rd, I could do from like 7 to 7 AM to noon. Somewhere in that time frame.
So the first interview for one of them is the 23rd.
Well, actually, that won't work because the one is in the academy. She's not done until the week of the 26th. So she wouldn't be able to come during the evening.
Can she Zoom?
They would probably let her Zoom. I can talk to Tom, but I'm sure they would let her Zoom for an interview.
You guys need to, I mean.
They do it for other recruits, so.
I mean, I would think they'd want her to have the opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we can check on that, and if that works out, then I'm fine with that.
So can we pick a date then
Which day would you,
What'd you say?
for the final interview?
16th, that week anytime?
16.
This would be the, how many?
4.
4. Okay.
The 16th or the 17th.
So we have county board on the 16th.
But that would be during the day then?
Could potentially do them before county board.
That's what I was thinking. Can we get someplace that's gonna be a little quieter than here? It's gonna be, things start developing in here pretty quick.
You could do it down in the shop.
Conference room downstairs, or conference room.
Is Zoom
Yeah.
capable down there to do that?
Well, I don't know
The
this,
setup be.
I don't know that we need a Zoom option for, but yes, we are Zoom people down there.
If it's in the evening, because I think she said she goes to like 4:30, 5.
Depends on
So
the day, but usually they're done by 1:30.
16th at 5 o'clock? 4 of them in, then we can go to county board. Betty, what do you think?
They usually take about 15 minutes,
They don't take long.
Yeah.
unless you got a real.
Dave, I'm probably tying your schedule up a little bit on that though.
5 o'clock on the 16th should work.
Plan for that, you guys can push it through.
Yeah.
All right. Let's plan for that.
I will touch base with them all and make sure that works, but
Okay. We don't tentatively set stuff, we never get anything set, so.
Yeah.
Tell her that I would advise her to ask Tom, but I know they do that for other people.
Set 5 o'clock, you should be.
maybe I'll,
Well,
just,
no, for the first interview.
maybe I'll just call them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, get that stuff done ahead of time then.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and then Miranda, we have to get a notice out to everybody for that.
I'm a little confused, because this is making a move.
Yes, a special meeting, for public safety for.
Closed session.
Closed session. That would, yeah, we would have to.
Yes. Yeah. I can help you with that. We'll put it together, that's.
Derek will be gone, so. Leadership will be here, so.
He can zoom. Okay.
No.
Usually like one of, like in the past, I've taken notes or meeting minutes for those type of special meetings for the interviews, so.
Yeah.
So you, I mean, you won't have to be there, we can,
Right.
we might time do it, so.
Yeah, it would, there would, sitting there, we have to delete that. Agenda session.
There's been past ones on the thing, if you go back, search and find other.
But all right, you're saying the 16th at 5 PM in the sheriff where?
Sheriff's office conference room. So that'd be the one that's downstairs across from, I don't think they call it conference room.
Oh, do they?
It used to be conference room too.
Yeah.
Where you did
It's got those-
lieutenant interviews?
Yeah.
Yep.
We did interview like Coy and them down there
Yep.
too, in that office.
All right. Just give us time to get that out. All right.
Bob's fancy question. Yes. That day.
That was a tough day. All right, anyway, item number 12, then, I think we've had, discussion and then on 5 PM on the 16th. All right, does that work? Very good. Item number 13, correspondence. Any correspondence? No correspondence, future agenda items, jail tour. Get that put on at some point? Going to
Yes,
do that?
it would have been a great day.
Yeah, it would have been.
Yes, we can.
I think it'd be good for the new,
Yeah.
Next month then,
let's try for next month.
following the meeting.
Yes, yep, that'd be great. And then the courthouse report, security report would be good for next month too. I think we'll add that onto the agenda. I've got my notes here for that.
When I asked him if the sheriff has been treating him good down there, I asked that one guy that. He stood up, he said, yes, he was being treated good.
That's good. Any other future agenda items? Hearing none, moving on to item number 15, adjournment. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Julie. Second.
I'll second.
All right, we'll give Dave a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Too late. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.